Calling all around the world. Mumbo jumbo, stir up the gumbo. Calling all around the world. Get it. Start with a roux, that's me and you. Add the Holy Trinity. That's rhythm, chords, and melody. Come on now, add your spice. Tell your story, very nice. Calling all around the world. Stir that vocal gumbo now. Calling all stir it up, stir it up. Get it.
Getting our groove on.
I've been loving that theme. You know what I've got going on in the background here, Miss Kinnan? I got my new sous vide device. Is making chicken. Let's see. Can you see it in the pot there? While I do this show with you. Dinner is cooking.
You can cook chicken, fry it up in a pan, and do a talk show all at the same time.
Because I'm a woman. WOMAN. All right. Let's get down to business.
Let's do it.
This guy, Francis Ford Coppola.
Oh, I've heard of him before.
You know, I'm name dropping. I'm name dropping.
Okay.
But he's my neighbor.
Oh.
He bought an apartment here in this building, and he has given everyone in the building 2 bottles of his wine. COVID
friendship for your apartment.
I know, that's family. So nice.
That's very nice.
I know. And
what is that? What are you drinking?
It's the Monterey County Chardonnay. It's an unpretentious little beautiful bottle of pure sunshine.
Wow, that is so divine.
It's divine. And so maybe Francis wants to sponsor Vocal Gumbo. That's what I'm thinking.
Let's ask him. Can you just slip a little note under his door?
You better believe I'm going to do that.
That's so nice. Well, you could actually, what you should do is reciprocate and send him some sous vide chicken and just a little, like, here's a little care package for you. Well, welcome everybody to Vocal Gumbo Happy Hour. Do you have your beverages?
What is that?
I have no idea what this is. I'm a little bit embarrassed because, like, we all got in here and I've been in the trenches editing all day, and I'm just like, quick, I got to make a drink. And so I went over to like my little drink station and threw like vodka and some lavender syrup. And then I didn't have any juice in the refrigerator. So then there's some coconut juice in there.
I thought I noticed.
So it's a little, and then it has 2 big squeezes of lime juice because it's way too sweet. So what can I tell you? And some seltzer. So this is my like super duper like girly drink right now.
But it needs an umbrella.
You know, it's kind of good. It's kind of refreshing. So,
nice.
You know, I mean, it'll do.
Okay, then let's get the party started. All right.
Well, you know, we are always excited about getting the party started at Vocal Gumbo, and we're at Vocal Gumbo Eve tonight, which is why we have our happy hour, right?
I'm so happy because tomorrow night is our episode number 5. Can you believe it? 5, and it's spectacular with a lot of different spices from all over the world.
Yeah,
and Japan and Brazil and
France
and California.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're not dead yet. I mean, the amazing thing about the effort that it takes to make this show, it's really an incredible feat, and it's a 3-way exercise of work and patience and commitment. And so, Jana Siegel and our producer in the sky, Lori Green, we have just been working and loving this whole notion of collaborating with everybody while we're quarantined. And we hope all of you guys are well out there and wearing your masks. Hello.
Yes, please do wear your masks.
I don't know why that's so hard. Oh,
and while we're saying that, I have a surprise for you tomorrow night, Lauren, but I'd like to shout out to Catherine McKeever for her birthday present to me.
Oh,
I will be using that, and I'm gonna save it for tomorrow night.
Oh, wow, very cool. I like Catherine's is in my video. So I've got a little picture of
That's
her and
right,
her
I
partner.
saw
So
her.
I'm
I
very
saw
excited
her.
about that. Well, we are doing our happy hour as usual and kind of checking in with each other. Otherwise, how are things going? I think you did like a talk today at
Yes.
alternative venues, right?
Yeah. Gail Boyd's alternative venues for jazz, and
Yeah.
you're gonna do it next week.
I'm going to do it next week. How did it go?
It was great. It's weird, kind of just talking in space because you can't see anybody and there's nobody asking you questions, so you're just it's a soliloquy. It's your Hamlet, you know.
Yes. Yes.
So
30 minutes. It's a
it was
long time to
fun.
kind of talk to yourself, right? That's when
Actually, it
they
wasn't.
usually get the straitjacket and they go, she's doing it again.
It wasn't. I had to be dragged off, actually.
And another thing.
And furthermore, if elected,
I love it. Oh, I think that's so great.
you know, when my father and mother would argue, and my mother was like really like coming on, like nagging my father, he would get up on a chair and say, "And furthermore, if elected." And of course, that would drive her even more crazy.
Yeah, because no one likes to be made fun of when you're really getting down to business, right?
Right, that's right.
I know.
And let's get down to business now with one of our dearest friends.
No,
She's a goddess.
she
let's face
is.
it.
She is one of them. Yes, great singer, great, musician and recording artist and session singer and an educator. And, and also just an all round, really saucy, fabulous, funny, smart lady, which is, always so unbelievably interesting to us. And so we're so lucky to have Tanya Hall join us here on Vocal Gumbo Happy Hour.
How beautiful.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you all for inviting me.
Well, we thought you would be a perfect person for this particular happy hour because we're going to talk about education and some of our young people and how they must be feeling to have the rug pulled out from under them and what's the future look like and,
Yep.
How did your people pivot and all of that. So we're going to get to that.
But before we get to that, we want to know what the heck's going on with you. I mean, besides being like you've been out on the road with Sting and many other main. I met you when you were on
not
Harry,
with Sting, although
not
I would
Sting?
love to be with Sting, with Steely Dan.
Steely Dan, sorry, Steely Dan, and it was this. I met you though when you were on the road with Harry Belafonte, right?
Right.
Way back.
That was in 1992.
Hello.
Ah!
In Japan, no less.
In Japan.
Yeah.
Very, very memorable night. I think we were drinking tequila that had a dead lizard in the bottom of the bottle.
that there might have been a lizard involved or something. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, and you've been out and you're working on, I think a new record is coming out, right? Or some new project.
Yeah,
okay.
It came out right at the end of last year, in December of 2019.
Yeah.
It's called Say Yes, and
Yes.
I think this is the album that I'm most proud of. It's the most truly representative of where I am musically. I'm
Isn't
very
that
happy
great?
with this record. Yeah.
That
Tell us
does
why.
feel good, yes.
Tell us what it. I'm really intrigued by that because, it takes. I think as we're talking about our young people, I do think it takes a long time though to figure out who the heck you are, right? And what do you really have to say, and it's really nice. Sometimes we have to say things before we're ready and do things before we're ready. It's really nice when everything lines up, though, when it feels like you are like doing what you should be doing. You know how to do it. And you're so ridiculously happy. And like, here's my project, right? So tell us a little bit about why this project meant so much to you.
Well, I mean, I had a couple of records out. The first record was out a long time ago. And that was when I was signed to MCA. It was a dance record. And I'm not a dance artist. I've always been a jazzer at heart, but a producer liked my voice and got me signed to this deal, and I did it, and it was fun. And then my last record was a big band record, but it was a beautiful record and one that I'm very, very proud of. But it was somebody else's vision,
right?
And somebody else was picking the tunes and doing the arrangements. So I didn't feel like it was 100% my voice. And this time around, I chose every tune, and every tune meant something to me. And my husband did beautiful arrangements of the tune, and it was something that we could work on and develop together over time. And we really took our time with this one. So I felt like every song, every phrase, every note choice was something that was coming fully from my heart.
Oh,
So it's like I said, I'm very proud of this record.
That's fantastic. Did you sing any of that new record when you were sang at Vocal Mania?
Actually, I don't. Oh, the first time that I was at Vocal Mania, I did. I sang Never Say Yes, which is actually, we took a lyric from that song for the title of the record. So yeah, I did do that.
You just eliminated the never.
Right, exactly.
Okay. So where are you now, Lati?
I am in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Yeah, when COVID got crazy, my husband teaches full time at University of Michigan, and we had a place out here in Ann Arbor, so we decided to camp out here and try to ride out the storm outside of the
I
city.
think that's wise.
Yeah,
Ann Arbor is a wonderful place.
it's beautiful. It's very peaceful here.
Is Zingerman's open?
Zingerman's is open.
Oh.
Unfortunately, they had to lay off about 300 people because they have many places in the airports, and they sell bread in grocery stores and things like that. So it kind of hit them hard. But the restaurant is open, and I'm happy to say there's always a line of cars waiting to get their incredible food.
yeah, that's great.
That's good.
And are you still keeping your place in New York? And it's just
Yes.
right now, this is just a reprieve
Just a reprieve.
Yeah.
And I would think I'll always be a New Yorker at heart. I miss the city. I miss the city pre-COVID. And I know that we will come out of this on the other side a stronger city in the end.
Absolutely.
Because we're tough. New Yorkers are tough, and we will survive this.
And we actually have some leadership.
We do.
Other than, I mean, unlike other states.
We do.
Yeah.
I mean, Cuomo has really, set the pace. He's kind of the pace car for this race that we're in right now. And I think everybody really turns to him. I mean, my mom's on the coast of Oregon, and I mean, she's like, oh no, I got to go right now because Andrew's on, and you're like, oh God, we're on like first name basis.
Right.
That's great.
But,
so go ahead, Lauren.
No, it's really helpful to have some great leadership, and but we're all trying to figure out though what to do in the meantime. So how are you and your lovely husband sort of coping in this time? You're a road dog, as we say, and so is your husband. And all of a sudden we find ourselves, since March 12th, pretty much, home. What does that feel like to be someone who's not like, literally going in and out of a suitcase?
Yeah, I mean, I'm used to being on the road about 200 days a year between my touring and educational work. So this was a big change for me. And I think for the first month, it was really welcome because I think I'd been sort of running myself ragged. So I was doing yoga in the morning, and I was cooking bread and all this fabulous stuff, and actually getting sleep for the first time in a very long time. But then I started to really dig into music and started to really dig into learning new tunes and dig into working on my own stuff, because a lot of times I didn't have the luxury to do that. So while this is an incredibly stressful time and an incredibly hard time and an incredibly sad time in this country, when you look at all that's happening, the silver lining of it is that I think we're going to come out on the other side of this with some great art.
I agree. And some new skills.
And some new skills.
Yeah.
So,
can we just mention that your husband is Andy Milne?
Yes.
The wonderful jazz composer and pianist.
Yes.
And
I have to brag on him a little bit. Last year he won a jazz album, the Juno for Jazz Album of the Year.
Wow.
So he's a beast of a musician, and just a wonderful, wonderful artist and musician.
And he does dishes, apparently.
And he does dishes.
So
that's the deal. If I cook, he does dishes.
I mean, I just will say that's a very, very good thing. So,
I'm curious. How has Oberlin decided on protocol for this coming semester?
Yes. So I don't think I'll get in any trouble by saying what we've decided to do, but they're moving to a 3-semester system. where there will be a fall, a spring, and a summer. And the students are kind of going to be staggered when they will attend.
Interesting.
So that way, every student, they're going to do a hybrid form of teaching. So every student will have their own room. There will be no shared rooms in the dorms. Most of the rooms are double occupancy. So one, especially in the conservatory, one side of the room will be used for living. The other side will be used for practicing and making music. As far as lessons go and teaching my students, we're doing low latency rooms. So we'll have 2 rooms right next to each other where with video monitors where we can play and sing in real time. And have the sort of in-person experience without the risk of infection.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty together. Wow.
It's the response from the university has been nothing short of incredible.
Wow.
And I'm so proud of how they have asked us all for our input. They've listened, and they've come up with solutions that are going to give students the biggest bang for the buck, despite the circumstances. And they're going to be able to have the communal experience that is so important in a college situation, because not only are they losing face-to-face education, which is a magical thing, but they're also losing the community that they used to have. They're running into the hallways, the collaborative experiences of making music. So it's I'm very proud of Oberlin's response.
And you took over the Jazz Voice program, right? You've been there for a couple
I created it.
Years.
Yeah.
2 years now, or I'm trying to remember.
This is my 5th year.
Well, I can't remember anything then. Don't ask me to remember anything. I can vaguely remember things. All right.
You gotta stop drinking.
I'm just gonna be over here. Go ahead. Tell us.
Yeah, they had never had a jazz vocal program there before, so they asked me
That's
to come
kind
in
of amazing to me.
and build the program. And I'm proud to say that we're up to 11 full-time jazz vocal majors, and they are singing their faces off. And it's a beautiful group, a really beautiful group of spirits and artists.
That's so great.
So since March, what was the protocol in March when this first started? Did they immediately get this together, or
No. We shut down for 2 weeks, and then we completed the rest. We completed the rest of the semester online. So we did. It was a lot of.
And how did you pivot? How did you pivot?
We got super creative. So with I think we had 6 or 7 lessons left for the remainder of the semester, and classes. I was teaching gospel chorus, and I was also teaching a performance class. So for the gospel chorus, I brought in a bunch of different artists. I had Dr. Carl Maltzby, who's written one of the foremost books on the history of gospel music. And he talked about the history and the development of the music. And we did 2 sessions with that, and the kids were loving it and could ask him questions. And he had lots of video clips. And then I brought in Marcy Daniels Rosenberg to talk about vocal health and how when you're belting and doing that kind of singing, how do you keep yourself the healthiest? And she came with just an amazing presentation, again with video and music clips and tips for how they can warm up and warm down their voices. I brought in Renee Marie to talk to the kids. We had managers and booking agents come in and talk to the kids. So I tried to give them assignments that they could do on their own to further their education, but we made it work. And again, the kids stepped up to the plate. I think everybody was scared and a little apprehensive, but we ended up having a really solid end to the semester.
That's wonderful. That's really remarkable. I think everybody, in a way, pivoting for artists is not such a strange animal, but for the big animal of academia and also the bigger world of commerce, it's harder to do that. But I think we all kind of go, yeah, well, let's just call up Renee Marie, our friend, let's call up, so-and-so and have them come and, and just really just think on our toes. And I think there'll probably be some happy accidents that happened during that time that will be maybe permanently implemented into the curriculum post-COVID.
This is kind of a silver lining of this thing, because you know where everybody is right now, right?
Yep.
And it's easy for someone to enter into a classroom when they're at home, and you can ask anyone from all over the world.
From all over the world, and
Yeah.
we're giving income to. I mean, they're not working either. So
Right.
it's a great way to sort of spread the love and spread the knowledge, which is the root of what we do, right? So this is music that's
Absolutely.
been passed on and passed on and passed on, and I feel incredibly grateful that I get to pass on what I've learned to these young minds, and you guys are doing the same thing. So I look at it as a gift every day.
It is a gift. I mean, when Lauren and I are teaching at NYU, and we had an ensemble. You know, the idea was to sing together and learn various arrangements, but there was never any time for any listening, never any time for any history or like how we got here. And then suddenly there was time, and I think the kids really enjoyed it.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about just different learning outcomes, like ways to change our perspective on what we expect the kids to learn. And there's a lot that goes into being a great singer, and it's not just learning technique or repertoire. So the fact that we now have the luxury, in a sense, of being able to spend time on those things is another silver lining.
Yeah, I think so too. So we have we actually reached out to some students as we were thinking about, we've had a lot of different talk shows. I mean, we've had some just knockdown, throwdown hilarity, with some serious queens and kings of our industry, but as we have marched along with our what started as a live show, we just felt like a lot of times we just needed a forum to also talk about and process what's going on, with whether it's Black Lives Matter, the pandemic, what are you doing to cope and get through your day, and now as the colleges are finally laying out what they're going to be doing, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of students are having to decide whether they're going back to school, whether they're deferring, whether they're doing a hybrid program, whether they're just doing the online. And as a parent of a rising sophomore at Boston Conservatory, it's just a conversation that's 24/7 going on in our household right now, and it's a tremendous amount of stress. And we just thought perhaps it would be interesting for our viewers to hear from some young college students, and have them be able to, number one, express how they're doing in this climate, but also share some knowledge or some news, or even just be someplace where everybody can sort of go, yeah, that's exactly how I feel, or what have you. And maybe you can be a wonderful voice of support for them. And so, I don't know, Janice, shall we invite our young
Let's
people
hear
on?
let's hear from the young peoples.
Okay. Well, we have Will Farnham, and Will goes to NYU Steinhardt, and that's Alexandria DeWalt, who goes to University of Miami.
Hi.
And
who's that girl? Who's that beautiful girl?
And that's Ella Marcus, my daughter, down on the other side of the house. She goes to Boston Conservatory. So welcome, you guys, and just want to make sure that you know Tanya Hall right there. She is a wonderful vocalist and educator, as you probably heard in the talk that we've already had, and a wonderful educator. So we wanted to, first of all, just let you introduce yourselves and maybe say who you are, where you're going to school, what your major is, and then we'll get into just the nuts and bolts of it. So ladies first. Alexandria, why don't you go and introduce yourself first?
Okay, I'm Alexandria DeWalt. I'm from Houston, Texas, and I go to University of Miami, like Lauren said. I'm majoring in jazz voice and minoring in political science. Thank you for having me.
Awesome.
I'm Ella Marcus. I go to Boston Conservatory, where I am a musical theater major. And yeah, I'm a rising sophomore, as my mom said.
Oh, Alexandria, you're a rising senior?
Yes, ma'am.
Your season.
Okay, great. And Will?
I'm Will Farnham. I'm a jazz violin major, and I'm actually going into my 5th year to get my master's in music ed. So I'm basically switching from the jazz program, finishing up school in the music ed program.
So great. So great. Welcome all of you. I guess why don't we just quickly find out what everybody's been doing this summer in the midst of coming home in March and finishing up your semester, and then what have you been doing to kind of keep busy, or also we're hoping that everybody's healthy in your household, but maybe if you'd like to share a little bit of your personal story. Alexandra, why don't you go first?
Oh yeah, sure. I actually stayed in Miami because I have an apartment there. So I was like, I'm paying rent, I should stay. But I stayed there to finish out the semester. And then my roommate and I did not know what to do. We were like, oh, we have all of this time. So we like decorated our apartment. We learned how to cook. Recently, I was driving back and forth from Houston to Miami just to check up on my parents and stuff. So I've been doing that, and I've been running a lot lately, just to like keep myself active, because I will sit and watch Netflix. Like I've been obsessed with Gossip Girl lately because I've never watched it, and so I was like, I could watch this all day. I need to do something. But yeah, giving myself little tasks every day so I can get up and do something.
Great.
Yeah. So Alex, what's the protocols for U of Miami in the fall?
Okay, we're going back to school. It's a little bit like Oberlin. We're not having the 3 semesters. We're going back August 17th and returning November 20th. That's our fall semester. But we're doing the same thing with the low latency lessons, and ensembles will be properly socially distanced, and we'll most likely have in-ear monitors for vocal ensembles so that we aren't next to each other. We're assigned, all of us are assigned to a single practice room, and no one else can go in there.
Wow.
What else are we doing? It's hybrid as well, so a lot of my academic classes are online so that we aren't meeting in big lecture halls and spreading COVID.
Yeah.
So it's nice.
It must be a little unnerving to be in a state where the cases are rising.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Actually, my brother and my mom both got COVID.
Oh, wow.
Luckily, they were both asymptomatic. Mostly, they just had mild body aches and headaches, but it's very real here in Texas and in Florida. And it's hard because our governor is not allowing Texas to shut down. But Cuomo, he sent 10,000 tests and some staff to Houston so that we can continue testing and making sure that our state is staying healthy.
Great. Oh, great. Ella, what have you been doing?
Well, so I sort of, I decided, at the beginning of the summer, end of the past spring semester, I decided that I was going to take some summer classes and get some of my credits out of the way. My program is very sort of rigid in terms of what, like you can't really open up your schedule to take electives, especially in the earlier years. So I sort of was like, I'm going to get all of my liberal arts classes out of the way. And so that's sort of been keeping me busy. Now, of course, when I go back to school, I won't have any, everything. A lot of my performance classes will be the ones that I have in person. And then maybe I won't have quite as many online classes, which might be nice. But, so that's been keeping me busy. And then just trying to social distance at the beach and enjoy being outside a little bit. So, yeah.
And you are very lucky. You're in a beautiful place, Hampton Bays, Long Island,
Yes.
so you can get out. That's great.
Yes.
And right now, you just maybe mentioned that what Boston Conservatory is offering for their plan rolling into the fall.
So it does feel like things are changing every single day with what they're rolling out. So I just keep, checking my email to see if I have any new updates. But they announced pretty quickly that they were going to do a hybrid model where, as I sort of just said, our performance-based classes, so things that really don't work quite as well online, like acting classes and dance, are going to be in person, and they've sort of switched around the curriculum and made some changes to the core classes that we normally have. We're going to track in smaller groups, probably keeping in mind like who you live with, and you know, so they've proposed a lot of things on how things are going to work. But it does look like they're doing a hybrid model.
Excellent.
Okay. Hey, Will.
Hey, Will.
Hi.
You.
So I go to NYU, just like Janice and Lauren.
We go to NYU.
We all go to NYU. So I was in the jazz vocal ensemble, the Village Voices, sorry, under the direction of Janice and Lauren, and we got through the whole online thing together, and they did a really fantastic job, I have to say. It was a lot of fun, and that kind of goes to what I did over the summer is, you know, I think I was able to do things that I wouldn't have been able to do if we were living the normal life, listening to new music and just discovering new music every day, writing music, and we have all this time now, and you know, we've been able to take advantage of that. So that's what I've been doing, and I also try and make money teaching online Japanese. That's what I've been doing, and coaching middle school baseball. That's what I've been doing. So
Wow.
Good on you.
staying busy, and
I've seen your a cappella work as well.
Yeah, just
on the a cappella app.
making some a cappella music.
Yeah, very nice.
So yeah, and going back to the NYU, so we're going to be hybrid. We're going back to school, and yeah, I mean, we're literally in the heart of New York City, so you know, we're hoping that it, you know, I mean, like kind of like what Ella said, but I mean, every day we're just waiting to get new word on what's going to happen, and it's still everything is still up in the air at this point. But I have a feeling in a couple of weeks we're going to start to get some answers. So,
Gonna have to get some answers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what does it feel like for you guys? You know, I mean, it just seems like, you know, there are moments in our history when the world comes to a complete halt, whether it's a war, whether it's, you know, a pandemic, whether it's at, you know, a 9/11. I mean, there are events that happen that really impact us as a world community. But I feel like, you know, it's kind of a loss of naivete, this pandemic for us as a culture, that all of a sudden, you know, we really are not invincible, and you're not invincible, and we can't really enjoy the freedoms that you realize how much you've taken for granted, like almost everything that you do, because everything has sort of been taken away from you. So like, what does that feel like for you? That idea that like suddenly the world is just on a big pause button, and you know, what does that do to your psyche? What does that do to your hope? What does that do to your fears?
And what does that do to your vision of the future? That's what I want to know too.
It's a big question. So I don't know, you know.
For me personally, I think it's given us time to think about what we really want to do and what we're really actually passionate about. I don't know. I feel like, especially with social media nowadays, everyone has an agenda. Everybody's trying to get something out. Like we've had the time to sit and pause, and people think about, oh, how has this impacted my community or our community? How can we change this? And then implement it, like using social media or whatever they may be using. I think this time has allowed us to find new ways that we can interact with other people and interact with our communities, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, it's invaluable. You also kind of, whatever you figure out what means a lot to you sort of rises to the surface. Yeah. Anybody else?
Staying in touch with your friends? Are you guys like, are you keeping your community close?
Yeah, I think for me, like I've definitely been talking to people that I might not have been talking to if we were in the normal life. You know, I mean, you try and keep in touch with as many people as possible, and Well, I'll tell you one thing I did actually a couple weeks ago was I had a friend come over to my porch and we had a social distant jam session. The first time I played with anyone for the past like 3-4 months, and it just shows how we just take it for granted playing live music with real people, and you just gain that appreciation during this whole pandemic. So yeah, it's just, it really, the pandemic really gives you a chance to sit back and sort of think about everything and just slowly just take a deep breath and just think about life, I guess. So yeah.
But isn't that a great, actually kind of a fast forward for me, like a fast forward growing up thing for you guys? Like it's like there's your age and you're living in, but then it's just like now this is some real life stuff that like you're going to build some character in these times perhaps, and then you bring that to your work, and I just think that always helps.
Absolutely. And it makes me think about, your age group. As I recall it, it was full of energy and forward momentum and gotta get out and gotta do and gotta go and gotta see this one and that one. And suddenly it's like what Lauren is saying. It's like you're forced to grow a little bit of maturity, maybe unnaturally. It's an unnatural setting, but it's forcing you to take a step back and take a more relaxed and open and thoughtful attitude about what you're doing too. So yeah, this does have some silver linings, I think.
Yeah.
This period.
I think sort of going off of what both Alexandria and Will said, just learning about what it is that you miss about your everyday life is very telling about what you feel like you need to go back to when life eventually maybe returns to some state of normalcy. And additionally, I really agree with what you were just saying, Janice, about you are sort of able to learn more about yourself as a person in this time where you have to kind of be somewhat alone. And I mean, something I've noticed, obviously, I went off to school and was, the first time being on my own for a year. And then I come back and I'm home with my parents and it's great. Hi, Mom. But I'm learning about the ways in which that I changed while I was at school. And it's things that I didn't necessarily notice while I was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fun. I noticed things that changed too. And it is fun. And, I guess there's also like opportunities to, I like what Ella brings up too, that idea of like, wow, you guys just have to live with yourself. Like you guys just have to sit with yourself, right? I mean, how often do you get to just sit with yourself unless you're taking regular yoga classes?
Which is like never.
Or go for those runs, that go forever. I mean, to really sit with yourself. These are opportunities, and perhaps, a way to, to find even more focus or more, passion for what it is you want to be doing. Because I think the alternative, you guys are very focused in your loves of what you do, right? So, but you can imagine that this is probably very unpinning for many, many young people who are like, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, I can't really go get a traditional job, or I'm not really going back to the school that maybe their school is like totally online, or like, it's really disappointing too. So there's probably some lows that one can experience from this kind of I
mean,
moment.
I think of you, Ella, in musical theater, with Broadway closed until who knows when. Yeah. That's got to be unnerving, anxious making.
Absolutely. I mean, I think one of the things, and I'm sure this goes for, vocal jazz programs, all of these arts programs. I feel like part of what I learned this year is about all of the ways that, of course, Broadway is, this beacon of light in the musical theater world, but there's so many things that you can be doing as a musical theater major to continue your craft. And I think that ultimately what I was able to take away from this year, even without the, obviously the pandemic coming into play, is just that there are so many ways that this can manifest itself in my life and how I want to use this training. And I think that now we have time to explore that in a way we didn't know that we would.
Yeah. I completely agree. Like a lot of the time, especially in music school, you're taught like there's this one way that we have to go. And I think with this pandemic, you've been exposed to so many different options and routes that you can take in order to achieve the same satisfaction that you get from whatever passions that you may have. But yeah, I totally agree. We never think about multiple routes and multiple journeys that we can take.
Yeah, I mean, just think about it in a way. There could be something that you do as a result of the pandemic. You fall into like some class and you're like, what? Give me, more of this. How can I do that? I'm going to just look at this question right here.
It's a good question.
So has the pandemic made any of the students question their career track or change their major? That's a great question.
Yeah, very good. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you. Who wants to lace into that one first?
I'll go, because I'm getting my teacher's degree in music education, and that was actually a really good plan with everything going on, because I have like, for example, like my orchestra director from my high school was pretty close to retiring because of this whole thing, and that's what it's basically the case for a lot of people, it seems like, who don't want to do the whole online thing. So in that sense, having the teacher's degree, the teaching degree in my back pocket turned out to be a really, really good idea for me. But of course, we all have the same passion for music and being performers, and that'll definitely never change. But yeah, I mean, that was just one small change that I saw through the pandemic.
How about you, Alex?
Yeah, definitely for me. I've been juggling whether or not I should apply for both grad school and law school, or just go grad school.
Go, girl.
So I've been I have like crazy charts with all of these options and schools I have in mind. So I've just like having it up in the air, thinking about what I really want to do. So I'm thankful that I have this time, because if I didn't, I would be so anxious. I'd be like, oh my gosh, what do I do? But
that's amazing, though, that you're thinking of either a music career or law school.
Yeah, it is.
and I met Alex. It's about 4 years ago, round about that time. She was at our New York Voices Vocal Jazz Camp, and you were just getting ready to. I think you were finishing your senior year or something at high school, and then I think the next year you were going to college. I can't quite remember, but I remember hearing you and going, that one has got some amazing music, musicianship and already essence of who you are as a musician, and then you're also a flautist as well.
Wow.
So you're kind of a pretty heavy, I think, a heavy musician singer, and so it's always really fascinating to me when you meet these people that are really, really heavy in one lane, and they're still like going, yeah, but I might also be kind of becoming the next president of the United States or whatever.
Yeah, this pandemic, not only because my mom's an attorney, but this pandemic, seeing so many musicians displaced. Like my brother, he's a touring musician. He tours with Solange, and he just has no work anymore. And you're like, what do I do? And he's trying to apply for grants, and there are all these things that you have to read. So I feel like there should be someone with legal, there should be some access to some legal support that musicians need to have, so they can stop being screwed over by so many other companies and things of that nature.
Every family needs a lawyer.
Yeah.
In the family, yeah.
Wow.
And especially one who understands the business. If you're thinking about going into entertainment law, that's fabulous.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. And you, Ella, any changes of heart in or do you love it as much as you always?
Yeah, Alex, that's so wonderful, and I can just hear my dad saying to me after this, Ella, are you gonna go to law school now?
Oh, good. Another fun family dinner.
No, but I think ultimately it just goes back to what a lot of us were saying before. You find out what you miss, and for me, I know that this time away from it has shown me how much I need it in my life and how I just can't do anything else. You know, this is it. And, you know, so yeah. Oh my goodness.
I want to ask each of you, what's the first thing you're going to do when this thing is over and it's safe to do those things?
How safe? How safe are we talking?
This is cable. No, it's not cable.
You can say it. You can say it.
I think right now, I just want to see my friends. I just want to see them in person. Actually, I was thinking about this today, but I mean, playing instrumental music, but man, I miss that feeling of singing with like 16 people in the same room. And it looks like it's not going to come anytime soon, but I miss it so much.
That's a very polite answer, Will. Good job.
You're welcome.
I really want to sing with people in the same room.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
me too.
Take it for granted, you know? I mean,
Yeah, I have a totally different answer. I just turned 21 in February, so like COVID definitely like took out all of the fun stuff. So I want to go to a Miami club, and, like get dressed up with my friends and go out and dance. I'm so excited.
You should.
Yes.
Good God, yes. And Ella, what's the first thing you're going to do?
Yeah, I mean, well, for me, I think it sort of goes along with Will as well. You know, at the end of the spring semester meant that our Boston Conservatory Musical Theater freshman review was canceled, and it was meant to be pushed to the beginning of fall, and you know, now it's been canceled again. So just I think that bond that I'm meant to make with all of my classmates in my year, we sort of didn't get that opportunity in the same way that previous years had, and I think that I'm just really excited to be able to be back with all of those people and get up on a stage with them and do what we were supposed to do.
LaTanya, do you have any questions for them?
Yeah, I mean, it's similar. One of the people in the chat room just mentioned something about this. I want to know how you guys, how was learning on Zoom for you? It's good for me and for other people who are educators to understand how this process was for you. So I saw a couple of grimaces. So I'm really excited to hear what you guys have to say about that.
And just be honest. Because you know what? We have to hear it.
Yeah, it's helpful. Very helpful.
It's very helpful.
Only Will, you can't tell any of the stories.
Oh man,
about
I can't. I can't, man. I'm trying not to laugh so hard.
You can tell them about the bingo card you made.
Yeah, that's literally what I was thinking about. So, well, before I go into that, learning over Zoom was definitely a different experience, and especially with music. Like I took a jazz arranging class, and before COVID hit, basically we would just play our arrangements in class every day, and that was just taken away from us, which was a huge bummer. But we were still able to get something out of it. We did some recordings as like a final project. So in that sense, we were able to do things that we never could have imagined doing. And I learned how to record music and learned how to use Logic, which I never would have imagined myself doing. So in that sense, we were able to gain something that we never would have thought we would gain. Obviously lost along the way, of course. But I think the best classes that I had were the ones that gave me something that I never would have had. And that happened over Zoom. And a good example actually is in Janice and Lauren's ensemble, we had guests come in that I never would have imagined speaking to in real life. Like Kurt Elling came in and did a master class for us, which was incredible. Who else? Mervyn Warren from Take Six came in. That was also awesome. But obviously along the way, there are technical difficulties, and you have problems like you might have like Janice cutting Lauren off in like a random spot, or Lauren might just freeze like this for like 10 minutes, and then everyone will be taking pictures of it and just sending it in the group chat. And so that's that. So we had a bingo card, and we had like 25 spaces saying, like, one space was just like Lauren cuts out, Janice talks over Lauren, someone goes and gets a drink, or like Lauren, or like I don't know, Janice says a bad word or something.
Janice
The
curses.
bingo card was daughter approved.
Oh, okay, that's
I
great.
very much approve of
I'm gonna
bingo
tell
card
everyone
It
right
was
now.
hilarious. It was hilarious,
It
actually.
was
It was.
hilarious.
Yeah.
And I'll have you know, Will, since that time, Janice and I are recording, mixing, editing video, doing the show, and we're like, you look, we are pivoting, and we're gonna and we're learning things that like we would never have learned either, you know, so that we can figure out also how we can be really vibrant for our students. And in the interim, though, we have also really fed ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Which is
Yes.
also, you know, a good teacher is a well-fed teacher and a happy teacher, you know. So going out and doing that, and you know, so we've come a long way. But yeah, Zoom was like, for us, it was like, oh God.
It's a challenge. Now, Alex, you were the one that made, when I said how is teaching on Zoom, you made that
You made the
face.
face, yeah. What's up with that?
I didn't like it as much. I'm like I like to separate work and home, just because my brain likes to work that way. So when I had to wake up, get out of bed, and then go to my computer, I felt like I was constantly in school. Like my home was my workspace as well, which I don't know. I just didn't like that vibe. But I liked seeing my professors at home being goofy. Dr. Reed with her dogs and her husband practicing trumpet in the background. I'm like, oh yeah, he sounds great. Like,
Yeah.
I'm glad this is happening right now.
Yeah.
But also like having everybody like, we still have studio class every Monday, even during summer. So that's really nice. Like we don't all have to be in the same place, so we can be on Zoom and people can be sharing the music that they're working on or that they've put out. And it's really nice. That aspect of it is nice, but like I would rather not learn on Zoom. I'm very like hands-on. Like I need to feel, touch, see everything. Like be inundated in it. But
I get that.
Yeah,
How about you, Ella?
Yeah, I can kind of speak to two sides of this because my summer classes were entirely academic, and they actually weren't on Zoom. It was mostly me doing my own work and meeting deadlines. And, you know, I think the reason why we kind of are artists is because we like to be in a room together and have that connection. So that was a little bit harder for me than you know, doing my arts classes online. Now, the other side of that is, especially, I sort of feel like with a musical theater major, is it's at times very, very emotional work, and it is very difficult to be looking at your classmates through a computer screen as you're trying to have this emotional breakthrough and or you know, trying to do your practice your pirouette in your ballet class. And you know, so it's definitely, I think it was a difficult transition for these art-based classes. You know, I'm so grateful that we had the beginning, you know, the fall semester to at least know what these classes were. So my heart is hurting for students who are freshmen going into college who have not had a college experience yet and are going immediately into these online classes. But I think as with anything, you just kind of, you learn to adjust to it and you try to make the most out of it. And I think that schools, as we go into this next semester, I think that schools have really done what they can to adjust for that.
Right. Yeah, it's just like, is it going to be enough though, as well for students? A lot of students probably, you know, any of these big colleges, they're big ticket prices. And so you also have to weigh whether or not you feel like the all online value or even the hybrid value is what you can sort of mentally afford or want to pay. So those are all of those questions too. But I wanted to also mention to all of our viewers that that you can pre-order your ticket for tomorrow night's show. And Janice, we should tell everybody a little bit about who's going to be on our show tomorrow night, because it's kind of
It's kind of amazing, yeah.
Kind of amazing. I don't know if you guys are hip to. Well, you must know Tierney Sutton. So she's going to do a wonderful piece with her husband Serge, and Janice and I have collaborated with her, and so we're doing a piece with her. Are you guys hip to Michael Mayo? Yes,
Will.
He's ridiculous.
Come on, Will.
Wow. Okay. Tomorrow?
Yeah, like
Yes.
tomorrow, like tomorrow. So Michael Mayo.
We've got the iconic all-female Brazilian a cappella group trio Esperança, plus an interview with one of them in Paris, from Paris.
Yep.
We have a Japanese beatboxer and bass singer Kai Kitamura.
Do you know Kai, Will?
I've heard of him. Yep.
Yeah,
he's crazy.
He's in a group called Idea of North, based out of they're based out of Australia, but he lives in Japan.
Right.
He's crazy, and his brushwork that he does,
it's crazy. It's nuts. Oh my God.
Gorgeous. It's gorgeous. So we're doing a piece with him and Rosanna Eckert. So she's joining us on that. We've got a wonderful Gabrielle Stavelli, who's a wonderful jazz singer, and her husband. We've got these husband-wife duos because everybody's sequestered together. Hint, hint, LaTanya.
Yeah, LaTanya. So when that piano comes in, we expect a contribution.
The piano was moved today, so we finally have it.
All right, for next episode.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
And also Alessandra Levy, kind of a young artist. She's based now in LA, but she was a student of Kim Nazarian's for many, many years. So I've known Alessandra since she was your age, if not maybe younger. In fact, Ella, they used to always kind of say that Ella and Alessandra kind of looked alike when she was younger and when you were younger, Ella. And she's doing a piece with her husband, and they're kind of doing it's kind of got this little more snarky puppy kind of thing that they've got going on over there. And so we're featuring them, and then a little bit of something from Janice and I. So it's going to be a all music program and a couple of interviews with Tierney, and that's happening at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night. So if you want to order your tickets tonight, it helps us, number one, feel like you love us.
Please love us.
And also,
and we need to buy Lauren a green screen.
Yeah,
so please contribute to that fund,
so I don't have to do it, in front of my sheets anymore. But also to let our audience know, and also to talk to you, you young artists, that we're also retraining our audience to be a part of this community that is suddenly out of work, right? So we're pivoting, and we've created a show that number one, Janice and I just like to be busy, and we like to make music. And so this is good for she and I. We really love it. And we love supporting our community and playing with lots of different people. But we also really like being able to spread the love around with the missing paychecks that are out there. So the more money we raise, the more money we can offer our community. So we really encourage.
And that includes instrumentalists as well, and
Absolutely.
people that have mixed some of these tracks and edited and all that.
Yeah.
Somebody's asking for a link to the show. They want it. They want to know where they can get it.
You can get the show right on this page, right on this Vocal Gumbo page.
Yes, you go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Vocal Gumbo, and you'll find our link ready to go tomorrow night, or visit the page to anytime tonight to get the information. You can pay for your ticket. We suggest $25. We're really happy to have you pay more or less, and you can either do it on Venmo, which is scrolling right underneath the screen right now.
Yeah,
Venmo or PayPal, and we encourage you to do so, because I cannot describe to you how this has become actually a full-time job for us. I'm not even lying. So Ella can attest. Go ahead. Tell them what your experience is with your mother these days. You can't.
Oh, no, absolutely. I wake up in the morning to Mom recording downstairs, and I go to bed to Mom recording downstairs. So they are working around the clock for this show.
We are, and yeah, it's pretty funny.
So much love in this show. They have so much love for it. They just can't stop working.
True. Very true.
It's true. So buy your tickets. Normally we're a lot more rowdy because we've usually at least proposed a drink or a shot by now. If we sold 25 tickets,
we can do that if you want.
Well, let me just look to see if anybody's bought a ticket, okay? Because if they haven't, then this is when you guys have to tell all your friends to get busy and buy a ticket. Let me see.
We had Leah Delaria on one of those happy hours, and we said, if we sell 25 tickets in the next 10 minutes, we're each going to do a shot of tequila. So we did.
We did.
Yeah, we did.
No, I have some really bad news for everybody.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
no. Yep. So, we want you to get busy, and we want you to know that that we also want to really have this happy hour be a format that can really serve our audience and really serve all the people that we adore so much. And tonight, especially near and dear to our hearts, is all of our young adults who are sort of, in limbo. And so we're so happy that you agreed to join our show. Any final thoughts to just say, words of advice or words of encouragement to send out to your friends, or a shout out? Why don't you shout out to all your friends, tell them you miss them, tell them you love them. I don't care what you do, but maybe you get the final word here.
Final words. Let's go.
Yo, shout out to Village Voices and Yuma Song. Yes.
Shout out to all my friends in Miami and Houston. I love y'all, and thank you for having us, and take care of yourself.
Yay. Good.
Yeah, and I'm going to shout out my Boston Conservatory musical theater class of 2023, and also the incoming class of 2024. We're here for you.
Oh, that's so great. LaTanya, thank you so much, and good luck on your move.
Thank you.
And transition, and keep us in the loop when you come up for air, so that you and Andy can do a little piece on our Vocal Gumbo.
And we provide background vocals, by the way.
Yay!
We're very affordable.
Working around the clock for you.
That's
We're
right.
very, very affordable.
Your Vocal Gumbo at work.
Yeah. So tune in tomorrow night, everybody. Vocal Gumbo, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be an amazing musical roller coaster. And we'd like to thank our beautiful young guests, Will and Alexandria and Ella. Thank you so much for spending your Friday night with us, right?
Thank you.
Friday night with the grown-ups. What else is new?
And we'd like to thank Lori Green, as always, for doing the magic she does behind the scenes. Thank you, Lori.
And thank you, LaTanya and Andy. Good luck. And we look forward to seeing you all in person whenever that good day comes. So love you all, and see you around. See you around the campus.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Calling all around the world. Mambo jumbo, stir up the gumbo. Calling all around the world. Get it. Start with a roux, that's me and you. Add the Holy Trinity. That's rhythm, chords, and melody. Come on now, add your spice. Tell your story, very nice. Calling all around the world. Stir that vocal gumbo now. Calling all stir it up, stir it up. Get it.
Yay!